Welcome back, everyone, to Westlake Hornets Teambuilder Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14. As today, we have the Season 7 going into Season 8 off-season. I was supposed to be streaming this, and I did, but it lagged out on me twice. So here we are. This is what happened during last year's off-season stream as well. So unfortunately, you guys won't get to react lively with me and help me make decisions. But on the bright side, if you weren't going to make the stream, you don't have to wait for the recap with watching an hour and a half live stream, and maybe this will give me more incentive to buy an Xbox screen recorder. Anyway, in the last episode, we beat the Army Black Knights in the, I think it's not Discover Orange Bowl anymore, I think it's Comcast Orange Bowl, Capital One, I don't know, but we won 20-3, probably the best defensive game in school history. Peyton Curtis, really solid finish to his freshman year. 9 for 15 isn't a lot, but we really prioritized the run, especially at the end of the year because Alex Ellis was so hot. But since he's gone, we're going to focus on the pass a lot more next year. Running the ball in his final collegiate game, Alex Ellis, not his best performance, but he was still solid. Michael Wilson was pretty good in his final game. Nigel Wiggins, not bad. Everett Lemieux, pretty quiet. 3 sacks allowed, one by Mike Carter, Donald Shaw, and Alex Ellis. Leader in tackles was Alex Coker, probably his best game of his career. QJ Casimir with a sack, Brock Rivera with a sack, so they each get a sack in their final collegiate game. Ogobo Necho with a pick, and Emmanuel Charles with a pick. So, now on to stats. Peyton Curtis, I think, was 6th in passing yards. He was solid this year. I don't think he was great. I think Champ Britton's freshman year was probably a little bit better, but as I said earlier, we did prioritize the run, so he'll probably throw about 100 more passes next year. Maybe not 100, but he'll throw a lot more. Running the ball, Alex Ellis was obviously phenomenal, winning numerous awards, including his second Heisman Trophy of his career. Over 2,000 yards, 25 rushing touchdowns, 96 on his career. He has 98 all-purpose touchdowns, so 2 away from 100. Receiving, no one broke 1,000 yards, probably for the first time in school history. Seasons 1 through 4, I assume Cortez Foreign got it all 4 years. In the past 2 years, I know Everett Lemieux has gotten over 1,000. But we definitely spread the ball, spread the wealth around a lot. Michael Wilson was solid. Nigel Wiggins was solid. Everett Lemieux was solid. Malik Brown was pretty decent. He'll have a bigger role next season. Blocking, very inconsistent. At times it was really good. At times it was really bad. 10 sacks allowed from Ryan Reginald. He really has not had a great career with us, and hopefully he'll have a nice senior year. Donald Shaw allowed 7, 3 for William Underwood, 2 by Mike Carter, 2 by Alex Ellis, 1 for Neil Scott. Defensively, Sean Briggs led the way in tackles, followed by Owen Jackson, Emmanuel Charles, Leon Moore, and Adam Alexander rounding out the top 5. 24 tackles for a loss for the senior, Brock Rivera, 21 for Isaac Solomon, 14 for QJ Casimir, 12 for Ogobo Necho, 11 for Owen Jackson, 12 sacks for Isaac Solomon and Brock Rivera, 10 for QJ Casimir, 7 for McCoy, 5 for Enecho, 8 interceptions for Emmanuel Charles. I think that tied for the lead in the NCAA. 5 for Wesley McNamara, 3 for Jeremy Harrington, 3 for Leon Moore, 3 for Adam Alexander, 1 for Owen Jackson, Alex Coker, Ogobo Necho, and Sean Briggs. On to kicking. This is like the stream glitch, but it's just the game being slow. Matt Fellows, 12 for 14. I'm surprised he didn't kick more field goals, and then perfect on extra points. He has never missed an extra point in his career. Punting, Alberto Prompel, very solid. So, did Emmanuel Charles lead the NCAA in picks? He was tied with Daly. How high was Ellis in yards? Okay, so he does lead that. Barber or Jenkins or Tony Jones could pass him, though. Hopefully he keeps that lead. So, obviously, we know Alex Ellis won the Heisman Trophy. All-Americans, we have plenty. On the All-NCAA first team, of course, Heisman Memorial Trophy winner Alex Ellis, along with Isaac Solomon, Brock Rivera, QJ Casimir, Owen Jackson, Emmanuel Charles, Sean Briggs. On the second team, nobody on offense. Surprised only one offensive player made, and like our whole defense did. There's Ernest McCoy, Adam Alexander. And then the All-NCAA freshman team, Peyton Curtis, Nigel Wiggins, Malik Brown. You're telling me there's no starting wide receiver who's a freshman in the NCAA who could have made it other than Wiggins. Malik Brown was good, but he didn't start. He was the number 4 guy. Both of our freshman offensive linemen, Neil Scott and Mike Carter. Did we have any freshmen on defense? We did, Adam Alexander. And then on the Pac-12, all Pac-12 first team, there's Alex Ellis, William Underwood, Isaac Solomon, Brock Rivera, QJ Casimir, Ernest McCoy, Owen Jackson, Manuel Charles, Adam Alexander, Leon Moore, Sean Briggs. And then on the second team, Peyton Curtis made it, along with Wesley McNamara and Jeremy Harrington and Matt Fellows. So you're telling me that other than our cornerbacks, no one in the Pac-12 should have made it over Jeremy Harrington. Harrington was really good last year, but he played like 5 games, so I don't know what to say. Award winners. We definitely had plenty of these. Obviously, Alex Ellis won the Heisman. He also won the Maxwell Award. The Walter Camp Award also went to number 31, Alex Ellis. Chuck Bednarik went to Emmanuel Charles. As you can see, we are hauling at all of these awards. Leon Moore in 3rd, Brock Rivera 4, Adam Alexander 5, Isaac Solomon 6, Owen Jackson in 8th. That's a lot. Bronco Nagruski went to Isaac Solomon. This is the 3rd straight season someone on our team has won this award. In Season 5, Brock Rivera won it. Last year, QJ Casimir won it. This year, it goes to Isaac Solomon. Brock Rivera in 2nd, Emmanuel Charles in 5th. Davey O'Brien, Adam Jensen, our first non-Westlake Hornet. Peyton Curtis finished in number 10. And the weird thing about this was Champ Britton never made the top 12 for Davey O'Brien in his career. But Peyton Curtis does this year, which is really weird. Doak Walker obviously went to Alex Ellis. Fred Biletnikoff went to Brandon Henderson. Look who's in 8th. Nigel Wiggins. We have had some great seasons from receivers, but they have never made the top 12 for Biletnikoff. Yet this year, Nigel Wiggins makes it, who was good this year, but he didn't have an outstanding year, so I guess that's sort of weird. John Mackey went to Jordan Pruitt. Obviously, we don't really use our tight end too much. There's Parker Strachan, right? Did I just see Parker Strachan? Yes, and number 4. Okay. Outland went to Kirby Anderson. No Westlake Hornets. Remington went to Jonathan Hodges. No Westlake Hornets. Rotary Lombardi went to Isaac Solomon. Brock Rivera in 2nd. Ernest McCoy in 8th. And my controller's dead. But it won't be dead for too much longer, kiddos. No QJ? No QJ, really. Best linebacker went to Thomas Roach. Owen Jackson in 2nd. Best defensive back, the Jim Thorpe Award, went to Emmanuel Charles. Leon Moore in 5th. Adam Alexander in 4th. Sean Briggs in 5th. Wesley McNamara in 7th. So basically our whole secondary. Lou Groza went to Peter Harrell. Matt Fellows in 9th. Ray Guy went to Ken Mitchell. We don't have an actual punter, technically. Alberto Prompello is listed as a kicker. And then best returner went to Tim Tatum. Now here is all the bowl games. I hope Oregon State gets absolutely pummeled. Here's the Las Vegas Bowl, the game that we played in 3 times in this series. This time, it'll be Washington versus San Diego State. I don't think we ever played San Diego State. That's interesting. Here are the rest of the games if you see your favorite teams. We'll go over exciting bowl games. Rose Bowl, number 4 Notre Dame versus number 3 USC. I'm happy we did not play in the Rose Bowl because I do expect that we will probably play in this game at some point in this series. Fiesta Bowl, Tennessee versus Baylor. Tony Jones' final collegiate game. Sugar Bowl, LSU versus Rutgers. Orange Bowl is obviously Army versus Westlake. And then the national championship, number 1 Texas versus number 2 Ohio. Not Ohio State, the Ohio Bobcats. We have seen both of these teams in this series. We lost both times. We got killed by Ohio in Season 4 and then barely lost to Texas in Season 5. I think Dominic Payne, who was Ohio's quarterback, Ohio's quarterback got injured in the Season 4 game. Then Dominic Payne came in. He played really well. I think he's still there. He is a senior starting in the national championship, which is really interesting. So now, let's get on to the offseason. Of course, our Westlake Hornets broke many records, starting with rushing touchdowns in a career in college football history. That record belongs to Alex Ellis with 96, breaking Monty Ball's record, and then Keenan Reynolds actually has that record in real life. He broke it since this game came out, I think somewhere in the 80s. Alex Ellis obviously broke that too. Wesley McNamara, most interceptions in school history, which was set last year, by Quentin Campbell. Alex Ellis, most rushing touchdowns in school history, obviously breaking his own record. Most rushing yards in a career for the school, Alex Ellis, obviously. Most rushing yards in a season, Alex Ellis, breaking his own record. And pretty much just Alex Ellis continuing to have a great legacy. And we finish with number 7 in the final poll. Here's a look at the bowl scores. Thank goodness Oregon State got pummeled. That makes me very happy. Go Ducks. In the Las Vegas Bowl, San Diego State won. They are now number 14 in the nation. My Oregon Ducks lost to Navy. That's great. 38-0. Tony Jones and the Baylor Bears. How many yards did he run for? Is that Tennessee? Or is that... Nope, this is Tennessee. How many yards did he run for? 123. So, not crazy. Rutgers beat LSU. They are now number 8. LSU drops 19 spots. Army drops to 23. Alabama unranked. That doesn't really make us feel good because we barely beat them this year. And then in the national championship, the Texas Longhorns beat the Ohio Bobcats 38-31. I know we were all rooting for Ohio to get the upset, but you don't get everything you want in life. For the record, Alex Ellis does still have the most rushing yards in this season, and then Emmanuel Charles is still tied for most interceptions. So, woohoo. Look at all this XP that Coach Conway gets. Dear goodness. That's a lot of dough, my friend. Good news, ladies and gentlemen. Mason Conway will be sticking around. He gets a 5-year extension, which is clutch. Great to see that Westlake still has faith in him, which I don't know why they wouldn't. Conway has been so good these past 7 years. The jump that this team has made to now one of the elite programs in all of college football. So, let's sign that extension, baby. Welcome back to Westlake, Mason. We are at coaching changes and players leaving. I am very frightened by players leaving, so we'll save that for the end. Let's start with coaching changes. I want to see all the head coaches that have potentially changed. Kalani Sitake, now the head coach at BYU, who he's actually the head coach there in real life. Mike Leach got fired. That's interesting. Kalani Sitake was at Central Michigan. That's interesting. Few extensions for Dabo Sweeney, Kirby Smart. Jackson Kelly gets an extension at Indiana. That's good. Anything else interesting? Sisek Youngblood gets an extension with Tennessee. That's great. Our former defensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, is fired at Texas Tech. Okay. And I guess he might be an offensive coordinator now? Imagine if he's our offensive coordinator. Nope, but we have a new defensive coordinator, Pete Kwiatkowski, who is a level 27, which means we can max him, or he's already maxed out. So both of our coordinators are maxed out. Doc Holliday is back, which is cool. Obviously, Conway is back. We'll go with Road Warrior. So both of our coordinators are now maxed. I wonder where Kyle Peters, who was our defense coordinator last year, I wonder where he went. Cliff Kingsbury gets the job as the offensive coordinator for Southern Miss, and then Kyle Peters is now the head coach at Georgia Tech. So he's going to be with the Yellow Jackets. A little bit surprised his prestige is A+, but that's cool. We wish him the best of luck with his new job. Maybe we'll play Georgia Tech, but at the same time, their offense is pretty cheesy. But that's what we said about Army, and they scored 3 points. So we'll probably play the Yellow Jackets in the future. The Battle of the Bees. So now on to players leaving. I am scared. So a rule we made a couple off seasons ago is for the rest of the series, we can only convince 3 more players to stay who are transferring, and 3 more to stay who are declaring for the draft. We've already convinced Champ Britton to stay via NFL draft, so we can only convince 2 more players to stay if they're leaving for the draft, and we can still convince 3 players to stay if they are transferring. Moment of truth, here we go. I'm really scared. So, okay. Isaac Solomon wants to declare, and James Love wants to transfer. Okay. I forgot James Love existed, first of all. Sorry, James Love. And Isaac Solomon, I'm a little bit surprised he's declaring. Now, the thing that worries me is who's going to play defensive end? We have Ray Johnson next year, but outside of that, I don't know who's going to play. Maybe we could move one of our outside linebackers or something, because there's no one on the roster or in recruiting who I feel comfortable with playing at defensive end. Who are we going to play there? Like Brandon Gilliam? You guys probably don't even know who that is, so he's going to be a 6th rounder. Well, he had a great year this year, and this is sort of like a Ja'Kai Polite situation, I feel like. Solid his first 2 years, dominates this year. Polite was obviously supposed to be a 1st rounder, then the bad combine, bad pro day came in. He was still a 3rd rounder, so I feel like Solomon would probably be a 3rd round pick. Maybe since he's a redshirt junior, maybe moving back a round or 2, but round 6? I don't know about that. James Love, he's actually a really good player. Yeah, I'm sort of sad he's gone, but at the same time, we have a lot of young players at safety, and I feel that he's not a huge loss. We have guys like Brenton Scott, Steve Harvey, Marcus Epps, who I think is a 4-star recruit, Marcus Ellis, who's a 4-star recruit. So, yeah, we don't really need James Love. He's going to Temple. And now on to the waterworks. Michael Wilson, 1st round, the very first 99 overall in school history. Let me tell you a good old story about Mr. Reliable here. So, the Season 2 offseason, I recorded it as a video like this, and we did not get Michael Wilson, but the file did not save, so I had to redo it. I keep 2 save files for each series, so that's a good thing. If I did it, then the Dolphin series might be over right now, because last week I saved an OFL file over it. Anyway, that's besides the point. So I had to redo it, and we ended up getting Michael Wilson, and here we are now. Phenomenal player in the slot, almost 3,000 yards with 26 touchdowns. Brock Rivero, 1st round. Okay, I definitely agree with this. Remember last year in the stream, he was going to declare and be a 5th rounder. Then the stream didn't work, and then he didn't declare. So thank you, YouTube, for giving me Brock Rivero an extra year. And now he's going to be a 1st round pick. Wesley McNamara. That's not Wesley McNamara. Wesley McNamara, 2nd round, really talented corner, most interceptions in school history. We're definitely going to miss him. QJ Casimir, round 5. With his skill set, I think he'd be at worst a 2nd round pick. Phenomenal pass rusher, 34 sacks in his career, 29 the past 3 years, 47 tackles for loss. His run stopping ability and pass rushing, I don't think he'd be a 5th rounder in real life. And then Alex Ellis, round 5? Round 5? Really? He's not tiny. He's 6'2", 202. Almost 6,400 yards. 98 all-purpose touchdowns. You're telling me this is round 5? The greatest Westlake Hornet of all time by a mile, I think? I don't know about that, but I guess we can look at the positives with Alex Ellis. Great player. We're definitely going to miss him. Greatest Westlake Hornet of all time, without a doubt. 2-time Heisman Memorial Trophy winner. This year, he also won the Maxwell, Walter Camp, and Doak Walker. Really good player right here. Alex Coker, graduating, 3-year starter. Really solid this past season. Kyle Utley, depth, but we're going to miss you. That's not Ronnie McNeil. There's Ronnie McNeil. Emmanuel Charles, he was depth, but his senior year, he started, and he was incredible. Tied the NCAA for interceptions with 8. And he's going to be a big loss for our secondary. Ronnie McNeil, I thought he was going to have a really good future when we recruited him. He's more of a depth guy, but still talented. Ernest McCoy, really solid senior year. He had 7 or 8 sacks. Yep, 7. And he's going to be a pretty big loss. Terrence Brooks, outside linebacker. He has recorded stats before. I remember, I think last year, he was in at defensive end for a play, and he got a sack. And he was so fast off the edge, 89 speed. We could put him at defensive end, but he's gone, so that kind of sucks. And Randy Larkin, fullback. We never really used fullback. He never got a carry. 2 receptions as a freshman, I assume off of fake punts. So, yeah. We're losing Isaac Solomon and James Love. They're ditching us. And then a bunch of really talented seniors are graduating. Alex Ellis, round 5? I don't know about that. Is Jack Jackson going to get picked? Nope, Jack Jackson's going undrafted. That's tough. And what about Tony Jones? Round 1. You've got to be kidding me. So, you're telling me Alex Ellis is a 5th rounder, but yet Tony Jones goes in the 1st. Tony Jones, yes, he won a Heisman. He has the most rushing yards in college football history, but Alex Ellis is not far behind. Alex Ellis is 2 inches bigger. He ran for 32 more touchdowns. And then look at this. In his career, Tony Jones has 2 rushes of more than 20 yards. 2. That means 1 out of every 542 rushes was over 20 yards. And you're telling me that's a first rounder. But yet Alex Ellis, who had like 50 yards of at least 20 yards, Alex Ellis had like a run of at least 20 yards each game. 53. That's basically 1 each game. But Tony Jones gets 2, but yet he's a first rounder. Yuck. So here's a look at everyone who is declaring. Is that Patrick Lacey? Okay, that's interesting. Michael Blaylock is declaring. Obviously Isaac Solomon. Definitely going to miss him. I doubt anyone is going to transfer here. We've never had anyone transfer here, and we probably never will. And then Brock Rivero, first overall pick. I don't know if this order means anything, but let me live in my own world. Brock Rivero, first overall pick. I sort of see it. I mean, if we're talking about Nick Bosa, top 3, then I sort of get it. Arkansas State quarterback Chris Wade in the first. Obviously, Tony Jones. You guys know how I feel about that. Where is, what's-his-face? Michael Wilson, dead last. I assume this order means nothing, but if Brock Rivero's the first overall pick, I'm a happy camper. Alright, on to... Oh, wow. They have everybody who's graduating? Dear goodness. Okay, enough of that. We're going to see where our players actually do get drafted, and then if anyone wants to transfer to us, hint, hint, probably not. I'm going to assume we have good news and bad news. The good news is our players getting drafted, and the bad news is we're probably not going to have any transfers. So let's start with the bad news. Shocker. Okay. Totally surprised. We've never had a transfer in school history. Probably never will. And then, for the draft, pretty much what their projected rounds were was where they ended up. Let's just see if Tony Jones fell out of the first round. Of course not. And Nick Adams here is probably going to have a better career than Tony Jones when it's all said and done. Now on to the most interesting part of the offseason, recruiting. This should be fun. So there are some off seasons where it's really easy with recruiting. You have a very good idea of what you're going to do. There's like 2 guys there, slap a lot of points into them, get them both. There's also those off season where there's plenty of players you want, and you have no idea how to allocate your points. This is definitely one of those off seasons. I think the last time we had one like this was Season 4 going into Season 5. The notable players on the board were William Underwood, Sean Briggs, Tyreek Cooper, Sandy Fishing, Ron Robinson, and Owen Jackson. Our top 2 guys were Briggs and William Underwood. We put a ton of points into them, and we got both of them, and they're both key players for our team now. Then the other 4. Sort of gave up on Tyreek Cooper because we didn't really need defensive end. Now the times are very different. He went to Syracuse, and he had a really good sophomore year, but sort of struggled this year. Ron Robinson went to UCLA to play quarterback. We've seen him in this series. We got Sandu, we got Owen Jackson, and they've both been really solid as well. So, Marcus Shelton, we obviously need defensive tackle as well. We're going to have 4 totally new starters on the D line next year. So, that's going to be interesting, and we definitely need to get Shelton. We've been going after a bunch of defensive tackles, and none of them have committed, so we need to hope that Marcus Shelton does. We barely have the lead over Washington, so hopefully we get him. Louis Kanye is an interesting one because we absolutely love his skill set, but we're down by a decent margin, and we already have the top 2 outside linebackers in this class. However, I really want Louis Kanye. He could probably slide into end with 93 speed. Dear goodness. So, I really want him. And then there's these 2 on the offensive line, Josh McClellan and Eli Jackson. And after thinking about it, I want to make sure that we get these 2. So I may have to only put my points into one of these guys. And while Eli Jackson is a custom recruit, Josh McClellan is the better player. And as much as I want to get Eli Jackson, it's probably not going to realistically happen if we're putting a lot of points into all 3 of these guys. So I don't think we're going to put points in Eli Jackson, as much as it saddens me to do, because he is a custom recruit. He is related to Owen Jackson. So hopefully Oklahoma or Stanford don't put any points in him, but I assume they will. And then there's these guys, Nick Wiggins, Jeremy Watson, John Keys, and Justin Jackson. Hopefully we get them. I'm not going to put any points to them. If we get them, great, and if we don't, that's not the end of the world. We are definitely under some pressure this offseason. We've gotten the past 2 number 1 recruiting classes, and we want to get another one, but we're currently number 2 at the moment just behind Notre Dame. So hopefully we can get the #1 recruiting class in the country, or else I'm going to be a sad boy. This is how I'm going to allocate my points. Marcus Shelton will get 3,800. My gut tells me that we're going to get him, and from what I've seen in the past, I think we will. Same thing with Lewis Kahn. I think 7,000 is enough. LSU or Texas could easily swoop him up, but LSU is going to need to put in like 5,700, and knowing this game, I don't think they're going to do that. Josh McClellan, same deal. We put in 4,200. I don't think Stanford's going to put in 3.6K. There is a chance they do. I'd be a little bit surprised. And then Eli Jackson, I want to get, but realistically, I think these three are our highest priorities. If we get Eli Jackson, great, but I'd be very surprised if we did. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the moment of truth. I'm not looking at the bottom thing where it shows everything because I just want to be totally surprised. I saw Westlake in there, but I didn't see the name. So, Josh McClellan, Lewis Kahn, and Marcus Shelton all commit. Okay, I'm happy with that. The three guys we put in points, we got them all. Eli's going to Oklahoma. All those low lock guys we had big leads on, they're all going elsewhere. I'm a little bit surprised by that, but it's not the end of the world. We get the top class in the country. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, I'm fine with this. I would have loved to have gotten Eli Jackson. I thought headed into this offseason we were, but you can't get everyone, you know. Nick, you can make a ton of offensive line prospects next year. We tried. So, Marcus Shelton, we won by about 1,000, okay. McClellan, same deal. How many did we lose out on with Eli? That's not even that much. We just had to put in, like, I think we could probably put in, like, 1,200 and got him. We won with Lewis Kahn by a lot. So if we put less into Kahn and gave him to Eli Jackson, we would have got him. That makes me frustrated. Jackson's going to Penn State, Keys to Stanford, Watson to Cal, Wiggins to USC. Okay, now I'm sort of frustrated. I think we could have easily gotten him because we could have put in, like, taken 2K off of Kahn, put it on Eli. Boom. Well, I wanted to be safe with Kahn. We knew we really wanted to get him, and it is what it is. And then here are the rest of our winners. Here's a final look at our class. I don't think we got any custom recruits, which is annoying because I went after a bunch. And I could have gotten Eli Jackson, but I had bigger priorities, so sorry everyone. I wanted to get a bunch of custom recruits, it just didn't happen, so... Oh no, we did get Aurier Iluka, that's right, so we got one. One is more than none. And we did get the top class in the country, that's good. 5 5-stars, which tied BYU. 9 4s, 3 3s, and I guess we got some walk-ons down there. So our final recruiting class, Marcus Shelton, John Paul Patterson, Lawrence McCoon, Aurier Iluka, Tim Beck, Rodney Allen, Lewis Kahn, Brandon Flores, Marcus Jones, Curtis Vincent, Ikeka Jackson, Justin McGee, Marcus Lee, Josh McClelland, Person's a walk-on, Chris Burton, Hargrove is a walk-on, Bolden is a walk-on, and then I guess we needed a fullback, so welcome to the team. This roster looks really different. No Alex Ellis, no Michael Wilson, no nobody. Leon Moore is now a top player. He's a senior. I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised Leon Moore is not declared in this series. I really am. Peyton Curtis is now a sophomore. We got guys like Jeremy Harrington, Everett Lemieux, William Underwood, who are all seniors. Brian Barnes, of course, was part of the storyline, so he can't play. Same with Jamar Justice, but I totally forgot about Josh Wilson. Okay, this makes me feel a lot better about cornerback, so yeah, I'm happier than I was 30 seconds ago. Dante Savage, redshirt freshman, the Alex Ellis replacement. Alright, let's get on to position changes. Excluding athletes, we made 2 positions changes, starting with Josh McClelland. He is moving to left tackle, and he will be the Ryan Reginald replacement next year. He goes down to a 77. I know Nick is salty at the moment, but Eli Jackson would have also gone down a decent bit as well. So, Josh McClelland was the right move. And then, for defensive end, Cole Spencer, who was supposed to play linebacker this year, he has moved to left end. So, he will be a defensive lineman now. He's only 211 pounds, but 85 strength. He's definitely strong enough, and he has a good enough pass rush arsenal where he can play that position. So, on to athletes. Rodney Allen is a quarterback. Can he play anywhere else? He can play wide receiver. And he cannot play defense, so we'll get back to him in a minute. Tim Beck. He can play running back. That is it. Okay. So, I guess you're going to play running back. And I think John Paul Patterson is the same way. Nope, he can play secondary. Yeah, we are definitely putting him at corner. Brandon Flores, he's an offensive lineman. Okay, he is going to play... I know center's the highest rating, but we're going to put him at right guard because William Underwood's a senior. Chris Burton, biggish guy, he can play O-line. He can also play defense. Maybe defensive tackle? I don't know. I mean, he's a 60. He went up. He's a gem? I didn't even know that. Sweet. We could use depth at D-tackle, so we'll put him there. And then Rodney Allen, I think I'm just going to put him at quarterback. I guess he can be a one-year starter once Peyton Curtis goes. So, that's the move. Alright, so I did not expect our new defensive end to be Cole Spencer, but here we are. This defense is going to look very different next year. Now on to the funnest part of the offseason, training results. Are we going to be a 99 next year? We could be. Leon Moore only went up 1? I thought for sure he'd be a 99. Okay, that's annoying. Looking at quarterback, Peyton Curtis is a 98 along with Mike Hadley. I've got to assume Curtis is declaring after this year. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. Running back, Dante Savage, 88. Jason Gibbs, 85. Patrick Daly, 84. Savage will be the main back, but I want to get these two involved more than we got, like, Sebastian Jackson involved. Fullback, no. Fullback was on the roster last year. Receiver, Everett Lemieux, 95. Brian Barnes is a 93. That doesn't matter. Jamar Justice is an 89. That doesn't matter. These two are part of the storyline, the corrupt recruiting / strip club storyline. Nigel Wiggins, 86. Malik Brown, 85. Noah Newton, 83. Okay, so receivers progressing well, all above 80. Jeff Washington is a 90. Sandy Fishing, 86. Tight end of the future, Ronald Young is an 80. Ryan Reginald is an 84. Herbert Hammond right behind. If Ryan Reginald sucks, we could easily put in Herbert Hammond. Neil Scott is an 86. Mike Carter. Whoa! Jeremy Reynolds is a 90. What? I think I moved him to center because we could use more depth there. Okay. I was expecting to start Mike Carter again, but now I guess we're going to start Jeremy Reynolds. Sorry, Mike. William Underwood is now a 95. And Donald Shaw is an 83. Same thing. If he struggles, we could put in Jamar Porter. Defensively, Cole Spencer is an 86. So he's not going to be a slouch or anything. That's almost as good as Isaac Solomon was. Ray Johnson will be an 81. Derek Berry will be a 75. So our defensive tackles will be 275s. That's not ideal. Scott Wheaton, 81. He's probably going to... we'll see. Middle linebacker, Owen Jackson, 85. Right outside linebacker, Agobo Inecho is going to be an 88. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with Lawrence McCoon, Justin McGee, and Lewis Kahn. Maybe one of them will start at left outside. Cornerback, Jeremy Harrington, 95. Adam Alexander, 90. Josh Wilson, 88. Andy Pino, 79. Leon Moore only went up 1. He's certainly going to be suspended that first game as a storyline. Jimmy Gray is an 82. Steve Harvey is an 80. Sean Briggs, 93. Brenton Scott is an 87. He's actually progressing really well. And I'm sort of sad that he's not going to start. Maybe he'll start as a senior, probably. Matt Fellows is a 98. Alberto Prompel is officially a punter now. He's a 92. And we'll probably just cut Nick Rivera because we don't really need him. So here's a new look at the team. No 99s because Leon Moore was a slouch this offseason. Maybe we'll suspend him like 4 games. I don't know. We'll see. On to cutting players. It's time to cut guys. There are a bunch of walk-ons who I really don't care about. I don't want you. We can cut Grover. Goodbye, Grover Stewart. Goodbye, Corey Bolden. Goodbye, Eric Pearson. I don't think we can cut you because you're a fullback. Goodbye, Jarrett Hargrove. Yeah, this last one might be kind of tough. Do we really need John Holland? He was a 4-star. I don't know if we need Thomas Foster. We have 3 defensive tackles. I think 3 is more than enough. Yeah, we'll cut Thomas Foster. Goodbye, my friend. So that's 70. I know we could theoretically cut Brian Barnes, and Jamar Justice, but I think I'm going to have them, like, transfer to a new school. So, we'll see. We're not going to cut them now, but we're not going to have them this year. I don't know yet. We'll see. So, only one big change with custom conferences is that we're actually moving divisions. We are moving from the south to the north. Utah and BYU will also be moving to the north. And the teams that are now in the south are Stanford, California, and Colorado. I did my research. I checked where California and Stanford's campuses were, and they're pretty aligned with Utah. So I figured moving them really was not that big of a deal. So yeah, this is basically the New South and the New North. I was about to say this is the California division, but there's 3 teams not from California, so that wouldn't really make any sense. So now on to the preseason. We get to see our new ranking, custom schedules, red shirts, depth chart, all that good stuff. We start off as the number 14 in the country here in Season 8. Not too shabby. So recruiting board, we're going to focus on that next episode. I have to make all the custom recruits. We're not going to be doing that right now. We're going to be looking at redshirt players, depth chart, and custom schedules right now. So I just did them all off camera, so I'll explain them on camera. So, starting with depth chart at quarterback, Peyton Curtis, of course, followed by Mike Hadley and Joshua Jones. Pretty much what you would expect. Running back, Dante Savage will be the focal point. Patrick Daly at the number 2 spot. Jason Gibbs at the number 3. I have Daly over Gibbs because, A, I like Daly's skill set a little bit better. And when Jason Gibbs was in the game, he was not great last year. Fullback will not be Jeff Brand. It'll be Jeff Washington, the senior tight end. He's a really solid blocker. Wide receiver, Everett Lemieux, Nigel Wiggins. Those two will keep their spots as the number 1 and number 2s. Malik Brown at the number 3. I could move Noah Newton there, but for right now, Brown will be the number 3, and then Noah Newton will be where Malik Brown was last year. Frank Bray, number 5. Sean Briggs, number 6. Sandy Fishing will be the main tight end once again, followed by Jeff Washington and Ronald Young. Offensive line will stay pretty much the same. Ryan Reginald, Neil Scott, Jeremy Reynolds at center. I was not expecting this, but he's better than Mike Carter. So Mike Carter will be back to the starter next year, and I guess will be depth right now. William Underwood at right guard, Donald Shaw at right tackle. Left end will be Cole Spencer. Definitely was not expecting this headed into the day. I assumed Isaac Solomon was going to stay, and he did not stay. So here we are now. Ray Johnson at right end. He'll replace Brock Rivero. Marcus Shelton and Derek Berry will be the main defensive tackles. Mike Jones behind. Left outside linebacker. I have no clue what to do with this position. It could be Scott Wheaton. It could be any of the 3 freshmen. Westlake runs a mixture of 4-3s, 4-2-5s, and even some 3-2-6s. We don't see the left outside linebacker that often, which makes me think, A, we could just put Scott Wheaton there. He's an okay player. Redshirt Lewis Kahn, redshirt Justin McGee, redshirt Lawrence McCoon. Or B, sort of change up the defensive scheme a little bit, where we see this position more, and have a battle for it between the 3 freshmen and Scott Wheaton. Middle linebacker will once again be Owen Jackson. Right outside will once again be Agobo Necho. Cornerback, very different this year. Jeremy Harrington, hopefully he's fully healthy. Adam Alexander, Josh Wilson, and Andy Pino. There are only 4 on the roster, so cornerback will definitely be a recruiting emphasis, even though these 3 are all sophomore or younger. We do need a lot of depth there. 3 safety will be the senior Leon Moore. Probably not for week 1, but he's there. Sean Briggs will be the strong safety. Kicker once again, Matt Fellows. I forgot to cut Nick Rivero. Well, I guess I cut someone for nothing. I think Thomas Foster. Sorry, Thomas. Nick Rivera gets to live another day. Kick returners will once again be Sean Briggs and Adam Alexander. Punt returner will once again be Sean Briggs. Kickoffs will once again be by Matt Fellows. And launch snapping duties will once again be by William Underwood. Now on to redshirting players. Nothing too exotic here. We're just redshirting the main guys that you'd expect. Chris Burton, Brandon Flores, Marcus Jones, Curtis Vincent, John Paul Patterson, Ikeka Jackson, Ulri Ayaluko, Tim Beck, Marcus Lee, Josh McClelland, Rodney Allen, and we're definitely going to redshirt at least 2 of the 3 linebackers for sure, depending on what happens with that position battle. Marcus Shelton is for sure a starter, and then we need a fullback on the roster, so Jeff Brandt will not be redshirted. Now on to custom schedules. Utah State first, then at LSU, bye week, at UCLA versus Colorado, going back to Champaign, taking on our good friends, the Illinois Fighting Illini, bye week, versus Utah, at Washington State, at Oregon, versus Washington, versus Auburn, versus Boise State for Senior Day, week 13. That's much more reasonable than week 11 last year, which is probably why we didn't get guys like Aaron Ward and Eli Jackson, and then at BYU to finish it off once again. So, that's going to end the video. Over 40 minutes. I know that's a while, but the stream would have been like double this length, so I guess there's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Quite an eventful offseason we had. Season 8 is going to be a ton of fun. Next episode, I think, will be Wednesday. That'll be the 1-year anniversary of the first episode, so I'll probably do something special for that. And then Season 8's introduction, I guess expect it maybe on Friday, because I have all week to work on the custom recruits, but all 4 days are school days, which is tough. So, as always, have a great day, and sorry for wasting 40 minutes of your lives. Maybe I shouldn't say wasting, maybe I should say you guys enjoying 40 minutes of your lives. Have a good one.